Hi, my name is Viet Pham. I'm from Fountain Valley and I own the Recess Room. I was born in Los Angeles, Glendale to be exact. I moved to Westminster when I was in second grade, so I believe that's 8 years old. I moved there because my mother opened up a Vietnamese vegetarian restaurant. So I came down here since I was a little child, helping my mom in Westminster, in the heart of Westminster. School was amazing here. I met awesome friends from day one. I actually went to school right down the street from where we're at right now in Fountain Valley. I went to Cox Elementary, Masuda Middle School, and Fountain Valley High School. So the school system has been great for me in Fountain Valley. So Vietnamese Americans, in my opinion, we all pretty much immigrated here in '76 after the fall of Saigon. That's pretty much the story for my family. We came over here. We initially stayed in Ohio and then eventually ended up in Los Angeles. But in my opinion, most Vietnamese Americans came over here after the war, and we all settled in Southern California, mostly in Little Saigon, and we're the largest community, Vietnamese community outside of Vietnam. Growing up in Little Saigon, it came as second nature to me. It seemed very natural. A lot of being in Little Saigon, there's so many Vietnamese people around, Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese restaurants. Felt very at home. However, I did grow up in Fountain Valley, which is more predominantly Caucasian, but there's a huge Vietnamese population as well. Yeah, so this is pretty interesting for me. During COVID, I didn't know very much about Asian hates. I didn't even believe that there was that much Asian hate. I've never encountered such for myself. However, during COVID, really close friends of mine have been extreme. They were had prejudice against them. They had a lot of horror stories pulling up in gas stations, balloons thrown at them. I was in disbelief, to be honest. I didn't know what to really believe, but they were like firsthand accounts from my friends, and just hearing all the stories around the United States during COVID has been so crazy. Hearing all the Asian hate. Yeah, so during COVID, I believe the shutdown was on March 18th of 2000, I believe 2020. And 2 days later, the Racist Room restaurant, we decided to have a food drive to serve the local community, serve the seniors that were in need, the ones that didn't have their caretakers there to take care of them. And so it took off from there, and we started serving healthcare professionals during that time. I teamed up with Tam Nguyen, and we started serving free meals to the Vietnamese community. And it's just not Vietnamese people, it's anyone in need. There's no criteria. We didn't ask for your ID. It was just a group of business professionals decided that we wanted to do good and not stay home during the pandemic. And as of today, we've served over 85,000 free meals. Well, I'm in the restaurant industry, and during the pandemic, we couldn't really do any business. And I felt I couldn't sit still. I knew I needed to be active. And what better way to be active than serve the community? But in reality, it was really nice working with other professionals that really helped me see the need. Personally, before I didn't know there was such a need until the pandemic, and working with the business professionals has really shown me that there's a huge need and we all need to work together. Important places. Well, definitely all the supermarkets. That's the first place you would definitely go if you're Vietnamese. We have the best supermarkets. I believe I can find pretty much any ingredient that any Vietnamese person would need. Definitely, if someone was to come out of state, I would tell them to go to Asian Garden Mall. It's the closest you'll feel to a real Vietnamese shopping center in Vietnam. I would say all the pho restaurants is a go-to, and the banh mi places for sure. I see other cultures see the Vietnamese Americans in a positive light. I've never had any issues. I really feel that most people see us as hardworking, very ambitious, definitely really big in restaurant industry. So it's been a plus for us. Major events as a kid, we would definitely always go to our tent festivals, which is our Vietnamese New Year that happens usually in February. And we would have parades on Bolsa, which drives through the heart of Little Saigon, or we'd have those, what do you call it, at the Mile Square Park, those festivals. Region, first thing I think of is Mile Square Park. I actually grew up right across the street from Mile Square Park, and to me, that's very iconic of Fountain Valley. That's what we're known for. But in Orange County, I just believe it's a very beautiful area. I grew up running around the park. I actually take my kids around the park, and to me, that's the biggest iconic thing to do. Well, my mother, for instance, I feel she lived a true immigrant life. She first came over here. She was picking strawberries to make a living, to get by, to open up, save enough to open up her first restaurant. I actually was in her womb when she was picking strawberries during that time. I hear the story all the time. But my mother ended up working as a dishwasher and then started becoming a sous chef, and she became her own chef, and she opened up her own restaurants. And from there, that's where I learned that I wanted to be in the restaurant business. So the recess room, it's a fun name. It means recess, a time to take a break, to go play, to enjoy yourself. But what the real meaning is, I opened it up with my best friends, my partners, my childhood friends that we met during recess. During the first day that I moved to Fountain Valley, I met 4 friends that I decided to open up a business with. Well, for business owners that have nothing, I started with $0 in my pocket before I opened up Recess. And I just knew no matter what, I was going to do whatever it took to get to where I needed and wanted to go. So I eventually drew out my business plan. I drew out every little aspect I felt I needed to become successful. And after 7 years of drawing plans when I was in college, one thing led to the next, and investors saw my passion, my drive, my business plan model, and they fell in love with it. And one thing, I saved up from investment. In order for us all to get paid back, the restaurant needs to be successful. But here's how I'm going to be successful. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's our game plan for year 1, year 2, year 3, and why we're going to be better than our competitors. Yes, well, I just came back from Vietnam from a family. My brother got married in Vietnam, and what I see now is a very mixed group of individuals that are all very entrepreneurial, very business forward, very ambitious. I do see a lot of expats in Vietnam, Vietnamese people from Orange County opening up businesses in Vietnam, and I see it so plentiful. I do see like a gap being reversed where they're going to be heading to Vietnam to do business over there. I would lean more towards the communication aspect. I don't agree on the whole be a doctor, be a surgeon. I feel that's very cliche. That's very old school. That's what our parents want. But that doesn't show who you really are, because that's your profession. Your profession doesn't define you. What I would say is be yourself. In my opinion, Vietnamese people are very caring, very loving, very giving, an awesome neighbor to be around. If we can just really be ourselves and not worry about what we do for a living, I feel we can really combat Asian hate. When I wanted to open up Recess, that's the last thing my mother and my father wanted me to do. We grew up in the restaurant industry, the restaurant business, and they know the countless hours that you have to put, the slim margins you have to deal with. However, the moment my mom saw the passion that I have for what I really want to do in the restaurant industry, she knew that there was no stopping me. And from that point on, she supported on all my endeavors. My goal for the Recess Room is to be open for forever, for the long run. I do have ambition to open up other restaurants. We just recently opened up a vegan Surf City style cafe in downtown Huntington Beach, which is called Good Vibes. But my real goal, including in the restaurant industry, is to really serve the community. So one of the fun things that we do at our new restaurant, Good Vibes, is we have a soul bowl. What the soul bowl is it's actually a bowl that anybody can come in and dine and use it and pay it forward. It's a pay it forward program, if you will. You can come in and you can have a down day. You maybe forgot your wallet, or you missed a paycheck. You can come in and dine, and you can actually pay $1, $2, or even $0, or even pay it forward. So we do have a lot of diners that come in, and there's no stigma behind it, you can come in, dine with your family, and really pay it forward, or pay it next time, or not pay at all. And I've found that in reality, like serving the community that way, that's how I know how to serve the community. It brings the most positive aspect in my own personal life. My message for the public, what I would love for everyone to do, is definitely pay it forward. Some way, one way or another, whether you want to help your neighbor mow the lawn, or, reach out to a person in need, a senior, or whatever it is, just pay it forward. That's my message.
Yeah.
We actually do the food drive once a month now. We used to do it every single week. And I actually do it with Paul Huang, Tam Nguyen, and we serve roughly 600 meals every single time. And we even deliver the meals to the seniors. I'm sure Paul Huang touched upon it, but part of it is it's not just serving the meals, it's actually communicating with the recipients. It's not even about the food, it's about communication, about the need, and about showing care and compassion. And it all starts with the food aspect. Yeah.